Good morning. Today we're doing a quick video on setting up and adjusting the brakes on our electric scooters. So when you receive your scooter, brand new, you'll need to set the brakes up. And this also applies to, after time, the brake pad will start wearing down, the cable will stretch, you can damage the mount for the brake as well. So once you've set everything up and you've got your steering column mounted on the scooter, I've just left it off for the video, it's a bit easier this way. You'll have your brake set up, which is a cable, goes down through the cable, comes out the bottom here, goes through this little arm with a mounting nut with a tensioning spring. If you put your cable through and you're pulling the brakes and it doesn't seem to be working at all, there's a method for getting the brakes to work correctly. So you need a 10mm spanner and a pair of pliers. You loosen this nut off, like so. Okay, once that's loose, you'll need to pull this arm forward until you feel the brakes start to apply. So nothing, pulling, 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 brakes are starting to lock on. Once you get to that position where the brakes are starting to apply, grab your pliers, grab the wire and pull it through the arm. Once you've got the wire pulled through, you can let it go, it won't spring or shouldn't spring back. Grab your spanner, tighten that nut up. This particular model was returned to us for a brake issue, which I'll explain in a second, so that's why this cable's all tattered and ratty. If yours gets like that, you can use a pair of pliers with some wire cutters and just trim it down so that you don't have the bits of wire hanging out the bottom. So now that that's tight, you can apply the brake and the back brakes start to lock up. Release, spins freely, lock up. Okay, so that's just manually adjusting the cable. The other thing to check for is this mounting bracket here that holds the brake cable assembly in place. If you tilt the scooter right over and crash, that can quite often hit the ground and it will bend this bracket backwards. As the bracket bends backwards, it reduces or takes the tension off the cable that's applied on the arm. Then your brakes will stop working. So if you have a crash and all of a sudden you find that the brakes don't seem to work, that's the first thing to check. If it has been bent backwards, again, just grab your pliers. It's not super thick, so it's quite easy. Just grab it and bend it forwards until it's basically at 90 degrees to this mounting plate here. So once you've done that, that should then pull the tension back on. You may need to readjust the cable afterwards. If you're just riding around and you find the brakes are becoming less effective, you'll need to adjust the cable tension using the adjuster that's up on the handlebars. It's quite simple. Just make sure this large nut's loose to spin, then grab the smaller one and just start screwing it out. As you screw that out, it's putting tension on the cable, which pulls that arm on a little bit, takes up some of the slack so that the brakes will then start applying earlier. Once you've got it to the position where you like it, it's locking up about there, then just turn the larger nut. You probably need to hold the inner one while you're turning the larger one. Just lock that up so that it's locked up against this mounting bracket here. Just stops that from vibrating loose and screwing itself back in. So they're the basic things to check when you're having brake issues. Obviously if your brakes aren't working, don't use the scooter until you fix it.